All right, everybody, how's it going? Listen, so we're going to talk about the most awesomest business model ever. You're just going to love it. It's called freaking virtual wholesaling. Awesome, fantastic. All you got to do is wake up, scratch your beard. Let's say something else, but scratch your beard, and if you don't have a beard, I don't know, scratch your nose or something. Sit around your boxer shorts, kind of surf the internet, find a buyer, and then find a seller, and make 40 grand a month. It's fantastic. It's better than sliced bread. All right. Now, obviously, I'm being facetious. And, look, there's a lot of people out there who are pushing this. Hey, man, virtual wholesaling. I hear that a lot. I have people ask me questions about that a lot. All right. The reality is, does virtual wholesaling, astro flipping, whatever you want to call it, does it work? And the reality is, yeah, it certainly works. I mean, there's a lot of ways of it. Amway works. I mean, there's a lot of people that make money different ways. Okay, there's no secret about it. But the here's I'm making this video because I care about you actually, and I want to help you. Okay, to try and do something like virtual wholesaling exponentially makes the challenges of just the whole wholesale business in general it just exponentially makes it difficult. Is my point. Okay, wholesaling by default is a challenge to do because you're trying to connect the dots. Okay, you got a buyer, you got a seller, there's you, and there's all these things around it. You got to make sure they all come together, everyone's happy, and you get paid to do so. Okay, and that's a challenge as it is. But when you add the virtual part of it, where you've never seen the buyer, you've never seen the house, you've never seen the seller, all those things, it's more of a challenge. So first of all, listen, if you make money in virtual wholesaling, God bless you. I'm glad you're done, doing that. Have I made money doing virtual wholesaling? Yeah, I sure have. I've bought properties, sight unseen. I remember buying a property and I had to get the septic pumped, and the guys called me up. Hey, where's the septic tank at? I'm like, I don't even, I don't know. So I'm like, kind of walking through it, and so finally, after being on the phone for him for half an hour, he found out, kept asking me these questions, and I just had I had a picture of the house or some dumb thing. So yeah, I've done that. Okay, have I made great money doing it? Sure have. But I tell you right now, that's not the norm. Okay, and so you have to ask yourself, what are your goals? Why do you want to do virtual wholesaling? Is it because it's sexy? Is it because you like to sit around and on in your boxer shorts and surf the internet and make all this money? There's a lot of ways you can make money online. It really is. Real estate's so really challenging. And so this is essentially I want to tell you some of the pitfalls you're going to experience if you go into wholesaling. Truly though, I think a lot of the reasons why people don't like to do they're attracted to virtual wholesaling is this. They don't have to talk to people on the phone or in person, and they can sit around and just instead of instead of calling people, they like to email or text, and they don't like the human interaction. Okay, can you make money doing that? Sure can. Yeah, sure can. But I tell you what, this is a people business. People drive real estate, not the internet per se. Does that make sense? I'm not saying you can't use the internet. I'm simply saying people make decisions to sell or buy, that kind of thing. Okay, and you can understand people, you can do really well in this business. And if you get the people part out of it, and you just try to email and all this kind of high behind, it's really challenging. Okay, I say this because they care. All right. So I'm going to give you 3 issues that you have to overcome when you're doing virtual wholesaling. It's really difficult. Okay. The first one is control. Okay. You might want to pull a pen and paper if you're not doing this already and write this down. Control is important. Okay. What do I mean by that? What do you mean by control? That just sounds weird. Okay. Listen, when you have any kind of wholesale deal, you have any kind of real estate transaction, control means you have a seller and you have a buyer. Okay. You're the buyer, the seller. Okay. And you want to control that. You want to be able to give an offer that the seller, accepts, they like. And then there's a contract between the two of you. Okay. So you have equitable interest in the property. Okay. And you can, you could sell it and make some cash. Okay. And that it's all done correct. I mean, it's not just verbal, but there's actually some, there's a contract involved. Okay. And that's great. I mean, that's any kind of real estate transaction. Wholesaling, just in general, not even talking about virtual wholesaling, is you have to then get a solid C buyer that's going to want to be able to buy the property and make sure you are compensated. Think about that. That presupposes trust with your cash buyer, right? Because why would a cash buyer want to work with you when they can go directly to the seller? Have you thought about that? If you haven't thought about that, you might want to think about that. Okay. The only way this works is if you can bring value to your cash buyer and you have a relationship with them and they can appreciate that. Does that make sense? If you're not bringing any value to them, they're probably not going to want to do business with you. Okay. So that's important. If you don't have control of the deal, right? You have maybe a seller, and a buyer, but you don't really have anything under contract and there's 2 or 3 other people involved. Do you have control of that deal? No, you don't have it. You don't have anything. You're just wasting your time. Just because you know about a deal does not mean you're going to get paid, right? That's immaterial. What you need to have is control. Purchase and sale agreement, the seller, and an assignment contract with your buyer, okay? That's got your name on it, your entity in between. So that arbitrage is your cash, okay? So when you're doing this long distance, it's very difficult to do. Okay, if you have a local buyer and a local seller, and you're in New Jersey and they're in I don't know, Salt Lake City, Utah, you see how that can be difficult, because if they're both in the same city, the same neighborhood, what's to keep the buyer and the seller to communicate and keep you out the loop, right? And you don't have it. I mean, you don't have any recourse. Sure, you can get an airplane and fly down there, but I mean, that's a lot of money. $1,000 probably on demand, maybe more. $2,000, hotel room, rental car, and then what if it takes you 3 or 4 days to get there? Because you know what I'm saying. It's really difficult. So control the deal. That's one of the ways you have control. It's hard to do when you don't have control. The other thing is this control the deal. The second one is inspection. Okay. Each property is different. And when you're talking about wholesaling deals, okay, wholesaling deal typically are properties that need work, right? That's you're wholesaling them to, for the most part, to rehabbers. Okay, rehabbers, they need houses with problems so that they do the sweat equity and make money on them, right? Which means there's issues with the houses most of the time, okay? And these issues, if you don't listen, man, if you don't have any, you're not there, eyes on the ground, you can't, you're not going to know this stuff. Well, there's a foundation issue. What if there's a well issue, right? What if there's a trillion things that go wrong, okay? And you won't know it because you're not there. It's not your property. You're hiring somebody, you're trusting somebody to do it, a realtor. No. Can you do it remotely? Absolutely. If you have the right people that know what to do, and that's how the professionals do it. They really vet these guys. They know when they send, Bob Smith into the house. Bob Smith is going to be thorough, and he's going to have situational awareness. He's going to look around the house, and he's going to know exactly what the issues are. Okay. But if you don't have that, it's really, really hard to do. And if there's an issue, how are you going to know about it? And a lot of times these things come up at closing, and how are you going to be able to control that if you don't know that? So, being able to inspect the property is really important. Okay. And know about it and really own that. And if you're far away, you can't handle a broken pipe. You can't handle the well shut down, or I don't know, the furnace, middle of winter and the furnace is shut off, and now you got the house freezes or whatever. That's been how I know that one. Okay. Or the water heater blows up in the, Sunday or Saturday evening, and you finally get out there on Monday and there's, 6 inches of water over the floor in the basement. That's how I know that one. No, please don't. I don't want to relive that. But you get my point. These happen. If you're 6,000, not 6,000 miles. If you're 1,000 miles away, 2,000 miles away, you won't know this. So the last one is the subtle market different things about the market. You can get on Zillow and this kind of thing, but if you don't know really little subtleties about the market, even in my market, I mean, those little, rural things a little bit different than sometimes in the city. There's just all these just subtle things that you're not going to know unless you really get to know that market. Does that make sense? If you're looking at, if I'm trying to comp something in northern New Jersey, I can look at some stuff, maybe, maybe get a realtor to help me with the CMA and stuff. But I'm not going to know all these subtleties because I don't know the market. I'll never know the market in northern New Jersey. Trust me, I won't. Right? No offense if you're in northern New Jersey, you got a lot of cool history up there. I like the Revolutionary War history, so I like studying about Battle of Trenton and all that stuff. Good stuff. But as far as comps, I don't know. Right? You get my point, right? Bottom line, folks. Bottom line. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. Life sucks. Yeah, it doesn't work. Can't do it. No. I'm simply saying, bloom where you are planted. You can control the deal. Very easy to control the deal. Trust me. Why? Because you know the buyer and you know the seller and you're looking at the house. You've been all through that house, okay? The house doesn't scare you because you know the house. 2, you get to know, the inspection. All the issues, you know all about it. Nothing scares you. I mean, there's the odd time something's going to blow up in your face. But for the most part, you really have command of what's going on in that house, okay? When your buyer asks you, you know all about it. Here's a mold remediation paperwork. Here's the issue with the septic. Here's, whatever it is, you have it. You understand? And the last thing is the subtle market things. You know the market. That's your market. You know that market. Okay? And you can speak with intelligence to your buyer. And also to the seller. Hey, I know you're hoping to get a home run on this house, but we both know this is the depressed market where you're at. I can't do that for you, but here's what I can do. Does that make sense? So I hope that clears things up. If you want to keep going being a virtual wholesaler, God bless you. Hope you make a lot of money. I would be very wary about somebody trying to sell you something. Hey, I have no money, no job, and pay me, $2,000, and you could be a virtual wholesaler. I would be very wary of that because it's going to be difficult. Whatever they're going to sell you for $2,000 about being a virtual wholesaler, you're going to have to overcome what I just told you. Okay. And bottom line, that $2,000 seminar or whatever is not going to be able to overcome those very easily unless you have the right people on the ground. Does that make sense? Listen, keep your chin up, bloom where you're planted. That's my exhortation for you. Okay. So much money where you're at. Don't grass isn't always green on the other side of the fence. Plenty of grass where you're at. Okay. If you have any questions at all, call me up. Phone number down there. Schedule a free strategy session, and we'll talk about how I can help you get your business going. You can do this. Tons of money to be made. Bloom where you're planted. Be creative in how you solve sellers' problems. All right. Wish you guys the best, and give me a call. Your schedule appointment, and you can do this. God bless. Talk soon.